Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is the war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one tide, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all need, gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright. Isn't it time for the stop time? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. With one hurts, with one needs, we gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright. One loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one tide, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright. Isn't it time for the stop time? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. With one hurts, with one needs, we gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright, peace, peace, together. Peace. Hi guys, how you all doing out there? Nice to see you guys. Welcome to the Shadow Chasing Show. I'm your host, Derrick Whiteskycloud. It's a hot one out here. People keep on saying, "Oh my God, it's hot out here. I can't breathe." So being in BC, it's normal for us. We're not always as hot as most people think. Um, yeah, we can just say, you can only say so much, right? But anyways, we are here. Thank you guys for joining me, and also those thanking also welcome you guys actually in the YouTube chat room as well as the Facebook chat room. Now I don't know if YouTube's gonna let me stay on. I'm trying. For some reason, guys, I'm telling you, they have a tendency of, I don't know why. If they don't like to hear what I say, they want like, ah, we don't like you, we're gonna shut you off. And they've done it too often. And I don't know. Honestly, God, guys, I don't know how many times I got strikes against me. So many strikes. I mean, I'm trying so hard to open up YouTube. No, you can't do this. Yes, no, you can't do that. Yes, I can. You can't stop me. Why are you guys blocking me from sharing what I'm sharing? So it happens. They have a tendency of playing that game. So we just roll with the whole thing, right? So yeah, no, my hair is still long. I didn't cut my hair short, guys. I just rolled it back here. So, um, so anyways, we're thank you guys for being part of the chat room. So tonight, so tonight, actually, I'm doing psychic readings. I've been really wanting to talk about a lot about spirituality and what it really means to all of us and why I got into it and my history of myself and like what got me to start this work. And I've been doing this for a long time, many years. I would say professionally, back in the mid '90s, and been active in the psychic mediumship field. I was introduced to it since I was a kid. I've been around. I've been in places where I grew up in a place called Winnipeg, Manitoba. Or Manitoba actually is one of in Canada. Here is one of the most haunted provinces in Canada, and its settlements started back in the 1600s. So it's very normal for me to, I guess, would say, get used to seeing ghosts, apparitions, shadows, that sort of thing. I never really experienced a bad experience when I was a kid growing up there. I've had a few scares that I experienced, not here, not in Manitoba, but when I was a kid. My parents came up to BC here back in '64. I was around 10 years old. I was asked to come to a birthday party for twin brothers that are from England. One of them actually got a birthday gift. I'm sure I shared this story with you before, but if you haven't heard it, one of them got both brothers got a birthday gift called the Ouija board. And there were a lot of kids in the house actually at the birthday party, and the last 4 kids that were left were the twin brothers, and there was a young Jewish boy and myself. And the only package that was never opened up to play with yet was the Ouija board. Now, none of us actually knew what a Ouija board was, except the Jewish boy. For some reason, somehow he knew something about it. He was around my age, so it must have been used, possibly brought up, or somehow he may have been around it and seen it himself while he was a little child. Or some people would say, "Don't touch that board; it's evil," or in that way they would say it directly. And so what had happened was, how do you say it? Say this correctly. What happened was let me move this over here so you guys can see me better. There we go. The boy one of the brothers opened up the board, laid out on the table. It's a wooden table in the center, and they laid the board out, folded it out. And there was just all you have, folks, is just a cardboard folded board, the playboard, and the planchette, right? So when the kids are playing and wanted to play the game, they want to talk to, it's actually written on there, we'll talk to ghosts or spirits. Now, you got to remember now, this is back in the mid 60s, 1960s. So it's a new idea for children to play with. It wasn't something, you find these games in every toy section in all the stores all across Canada, United States. but it's illegal to sell to children in England now. Before that wasn't, but it was very common that earlier years, children would use Ouija boards. And I guess they know the results when the child is actually using Ouija boards, where they become emotionally, physically, mentally ill after, and sometimes be attacked and scared and after they use it. So, or even possessions. Okay, they can become possessed. You never know. But anyways, happened was when I was there, I was actually sitting on the couch. There's L shaped, and the two twin brothers are on one side, and I was this way, and the Jewish boys over here, and the square table was there. And this table was must have been made of oak, because it was a very old table, but it's a large table. And we're in the basement. We weren't in the house, like upstairs, the main floor. We were in the basement. So, but it was like a basement suite. And it's just the four of us kids. So the kids wanted to play the game, or the two brothers wanted to play the game. And the Jewish boy says, that's the devil's board. And at the time, the kids, like, they're, telling the Jewish boy, like, "Are you crazy? You're nuts. You're crazy. There's no way. It's not. It's not. Like, you're not. It's not devil's board. You're crazy. You're nuts." So one of the brothers said, "Prove it." Now, I never said words. I was just sitting watching. I'm in the middle of this. I didn't ever say one freaking word. I'm just watching. It's more like the argument amongst those three. So the Jewish boy was wearing a Star of David, and it's like a necklace. And he said to the boys, "I can prove it. If this is not the devil's board, then it won't burn. But if it is a devil's board, it will burn." And so he took a Star of David off and he laid it on top of the board. Around the edge of the board, outer edge of the board, it smoked. It had smoke coming out from all four sides. We could smell sulfur, and we can smell smoke, like see the smoke coming out from all four sides of the board. And I'm looking like all of our eyes like wide open like this. And one of the twin brothers, pushed the board off onto the floor. And you could see the whole top of the coffee table black, like burnt. I flew up off that chair. I was out the back door and ran down the alley and never looked back. And I never returned back to that house. Not ever. Never returned, talk to those boys ever again. Not even the Jewish boy. Because I was never sure who to trust. And I was very protective of that, of myself. And for some reason, it got my attention, and my heart was pounding hard. I mean, here's a kid, myself as a child, I should never have to experience something so horrible. And yet I was there. I seen it. This is a 10-year-old, okay? A 10-year-old kid who should not have, 10, 11-year-olds should never have to experience this at all. And I did. And anyways, but again, I didn't participate, but I watched. I was the observer from that couch. Now, mind you, have I played the Ouija board? No, never will. Have I used other instruments to make contact with spirit before? Yes, but I did it in a proper manner, proper way, that it is using the God light and asking for God's light to protect me, to make sure nothing harms me or the client, the participants. And when I did it, I always make sure, and you need to remember, folks, if you already haven't done this before, make sure you ask them to close the veil and not to have anyone follow after. It's always good to have someone who actually is watching the door from the other side to help you close it. Everyone has a monitor of a door. Everyone is gifted with a guide or monitor of a door who wants to speak from the other side. Now, someone said to me the other day, are seances the same thing as a Ouija board? No, it's not. Totally different. Seances are a lot different. What it is because I go into a subconsciousness where I'm able to speak through from the other side, from someone who's crossed over, whether it be someone that may be related to you or someone who is related from the past, far long ago. And they will give messages for everyone. It's not just one individual, it's everyone. And sometimes, if there is meant to be for one person, if a person asks the question from across the room, asking a question regarding, from the other side, then they will answer them. There is I've got copies of true seance mediumship where voices of people in spirit who actually have spoken from the other side. And there's no way has anyone ever had experienced anything quite like that before regarding, even like just certain things you'd say, go like, well, how did he know or she know when they ask the question? It's because spirit is directly from the other side and they know, right? Wendy says, when my friends would want to play around with one, I left. I've always had a very uncomfortable feeling around them. Yeah, because the thing is that, like I said before, in the UK and all over the UK, okay, all of Europe, there are all the kids. There was a law passed back in 1972, back in the UK, that no Ouija board is to be sold out of any children's game stores or and you cannot put a Ouija board or sell Ouija boards in children's game sections. So if you're going to sell the boards, you got to sell it through the adult area if they're going to do that. But again, there needs to be a cautionary note that is placed in those Ouija boards. There are not many people that really, sure, the guys who bought the company of the board, they should do a little bit more research and give people a little bit of heads up that it's not just a toy. It's not something you think is just a laughable joke and thinking, well, ha 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 ha, Uncle Bob's going to come through, ha 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 ha. Okay, because you don't realize, folks, when you're not doing something correct, you can do more harm than good. And I've seen too many kids will joke about it and they'll say, I dare you, from the other side. I dare you. And again, they think it's funny. Somebody in that room is going to get hurt. And I'm serious. And it's happened before. I've got copies of actually about 16 to 23 girls were playing with a Ouija board in a room. All 23 girls suddenly had a nervous breakdown, like actually were attacked, something, and they were joking around. They thought it was funny, and they thought it was a joke. They go, "Oh yeah, dare you this and dare you that." Oh yeah, joke, ha ha ha. Every kid, every young girl, and these are kids in schools, got hurt, right? And then there was another story of another 16 more kids that were having a Ouija board party, and again, it happened somewhere in Europe. And they thought they're going to be, fun. Oh, come out of my house and do this and do this and do this. And we're going to play the game and we're going to prove it to you guys that this doesn't exist. Guess what? The ones that played the game and don't know how to use it properly got hurt. So you got to be careful. I'm serious, guys. One thing I've learned in this work is learn how to protect yourself. Okay. And as long as you ask for God's white light to protect you first, even if you weren't using Ouija boards, say if you're going into a place that's haunted, and let's talk about hauntings. When you walk into a haunted house, okay, and it's happened before, folks, I'm not kidding you. When you walk into a haunted house, there has been moments where, let's see here, see if that worked. There we go. You walk into a haunted house and you get this feeling in your chest. And sometimes people feel dizzy. Sometimes people feel like they're getting like almost like a little bit like an anxiety attack. If you don't know what an anxiety attack feels like, even in the pit of your stomach, like you feel like something's not right here. Okay. Those are people from the spirit world that are acknowledging you. Some don't like you. They're going to tell you, get out, or they will start slamming doors. And you'll start seeing some doors closed or open in the building somewhere. All of a sudden, a door goes slam, and you've never been there yet. And all of a sudden, you're freaking yourself out. Well, the reason why they're slamming the doors, that's their warning to you. Okay, get out. Now, because that's how they know how to control you. If you're determined to stay in that haunted house, you got to talk to them nice and to say, excuse me, my name is, I'm just here to find out about you. I'm not here to harm you or hurt you. I'm just curious about the other side. And is it possible I can communicate with you? Now, some people will have ghost equipment, different kinds of type of equipment. Years ago, we never had, when I was doing my first ghost hunting, I never had all those equipment. I didn't have no radio. All I had was a common regular cassette machine in my palm of my hand, a small little notebook, and a flashlight and a pen. That's it. That's all I had. Flashlight and a pen, and plenty of batteries. Okay, because they'll burn the batteries out. They will. And I've seen batteries burn out with less than 5 minutes. You can put a whole new set of batteries, D's, whatever, C's, A's, whatever, how you use it, however, no matter how big your flashlight is. There was a flashlight one time I had took 3 D's to go inside, and I popped it in, screwed it up, plugged it in, and I was nice and bright. 5 minutes later, flashlight's dead. Drained. Batteries are gone. Because the spirits will occupy the energy from the acid or from the memory of the batteries. Okay, that's where they're good at. There's Johnny Enoch. Hey, my good friend. So we're talking about ghosts, we're talking about spirits, and I'm also doing readings this evening. But like I said before, when you're using flashlights, make sure you have plenty of batteries on hand. At least if you got 2 batteries per time you're using the flashlight, make sure you have a good half dozen with you, depending on the length of time you're spending in there. Or make sure you have a good package of it in your pocket somewhere, or in a pack sack with you when you're in your travels. Plenty of, and especially your cameras too, your batteries and your cameras. If they start draining real fast, make sure you have another battery charger with you, because if you're using cameras, automatic cameras, they will actually deplete as well. Spirits have the way of depleting battery usage. Okay, they know how to do it, and they're good at that. So, and I've seen it done. I mean, I've done so many investigations. Places that I've been to that are haunting. I had a paranormal team that I worked with, and too bad we broke up. But certain people did not want to work to. I guess they work together anymore. They didn't want to have a goal to be on television or to do television. We all agreed at first time we were going to do a series. And then what happened after that, 2 of them backed out, got scared, and because we were ready to sign a contract, we were ready to go. We were ready to do TV. And I was all for it. I've been trying to get this started off the ground for years, because I know I had so many places that I know we can use, plus my expertise as a medium. And I've had people tell me, and I've seen a lot of paranormal teams on TV, and they'll tell you, and a lot of paranormal teams say, I don't want no medium. No, mediums are no good. We'll just use machines. Mediums are no good. We use machines. They tend to forget that we're more connected to the spirit side than your digital machines, electronics. But for some reason, there are people out there that don't want to believe that the medium, the connection with people in the spirit side, they're so afraid that I might come up with something that may be a problem for them, right? Oh my God. Clark says, "Hey Derek, do you only have an American phone number? My last call in the show cost $40 from Alberta for a short call." What? No, I've got also, if you go to, here's what you do, Clark. You go on Skype and you type in my name. It's Derrick Whiteskycloud, right? Type in my name and that you want to phone me. And that's how people can contact me too. It's the same way. I use Skype for a reason. I have an American number, the 360-566-2875. I got a Vancouver, Washington. And the reason why I took it, get it, because earlier years ago, it cost more money to have a Canadian phone number. Long distance was expensive. So I figured if I actually got a phone number from the States, because when Skype introduced a phone number, then I can talk to people that are from the States. And or Skype is the only company that I, at the time, only did a lot of long distance for free. I was talking to people in the UK. I was talking to people all over the world from the Skype line. It's a phone, like a phone line. It's what it really is. It's an internet service that is internet connection, like a phone. Then they started to regulate it to the point where they can actually hook up to your phone. They found a way of doing it, so they're blending in the phone number to a phone call. So now, if I decided to take my cell phone and blend the 360, like say I do a forward to my own cell phone, I can. But I would rather do the 360 because that's what I do all the time. But again, every like I said before, anybody wants to find a way to call, you can always type in my name, Derrick Whiteskycloud, all one word. Just look for it. Just click on the word contact. Click on that in Skype. Type in my name and then find me there. And if what happens is it'll come up on the screen showing me that you want to make contact with me, that I accept it. To me, now you're on the phone list, so you can call me anytime. So that's the reason why I have that available. It's and a lot of people used to do that for a long time. But now we have an opportunity to now see with Skype today, they've added so many new things in there with phone, different versions of, you can contact this company, you can contact that company, you can work with this company here, and they can help you with this, and forward to Google and forward to Facebook and forward to this, whatever have you. You know, funny thing, I'm surprised Facebook doesn't even have a recording line set up in their phone line. So you can do you can do Facebook calls, face to face off your cell phones, but there's no recorder on it. And yet Skype does have a recorder on it. So if I want to record, say, a recording between you and I on Skype, I can. If I want to do a conference calls, I can do the same thing right on Skype. So there's so many different kinds of programs, companies now today that use every type of, I guess to say, rooms to download and say, okay, join this, join this, join this. It gets to be costly after, and I thought, I'm not going to start chasing down, have to have this, and chasing down, have to have that. So the only way I can get to tell people all you do is contact my Skype, type in my name that you want to make contact with me, pardon me, and then I accept you as a caller. And then once I do that, then you can call me at any time, because now you're on the list, on the phone list. That makes it easy. Now, people say, well, how come I can't phone you? Well, I would have to pay. It would cost me long distance if I took my Skype and phoned you from Skype on your landline. Now, there's a different kind of setup that Skype has. So I can call people with my Skype number, but I would prefer you guys to call me, because that's how people make the effort to do it, right? So it shouldn't be that hard. Just work with it, no problem. So getting back to ghost issues, stuff like that. As a paranormal investigator, I mean, I've had different experiences with it. I've never talked about as often when I was with Bill here. By the way, we on the 18th of June, we're going to have Bill Hauser with us here. So we're going to have the Ghost Box coming up on a Thursday on the 18th of June. So look forward to that. We just made a plan on that one. So I wanted to tonight to do a special because I want to do a July the 4th special for psychic readings for all you people out there. Happy 4th of July, as well as we also had Canada Day for Canada and July, which was July the 1st. So again, we're combining Canada and United States. So I made a little flyer. I made up there's actually a flyer I made that shows, you'll see it at the beginning that I had two countries were shaking hands together. That happy 4th of July, because basically most people may not realize we've already merged, but you'll hear about that soon. Canada is actually part of the United States now, but you guys just don't know it. You will soon. Like publicly, like through the media, they'll tell you, so guess what? Canada now is together. We merged with the United States, and so is Mexico. So everybody's going like, "Cómo está? Hola." So it's going to be interesting. Can you actually visualize somebody from Canada and learning how to speak Spanish and with a Newfie accent? Oh my God, guys, think about it. As a Canadian, it's great humor. Oh la. So anyways, okay, let's see. Travis, yes, afraid of losing the limelight to the Mount Medium. Yeah. There has, okay, getting back to this paranormal work, I would say the most craziest hauntings, and I want to talk about the kids too, by the way, the Ouija boards. Like I said before, there have been a lot of kids that actually have used Ouija boards, and someone tried to bring a Ouija board with them to a paranormal investigation. I've seen it on TV. There was a movie that came out back in the 1950s, and it was called The 13th Ghost. If you guys ever get a chance to look for it, there's two movies called The 13th Ghost, but you want the oldest one back in the 1950s. It's called The 13th Ghost. You'll see in that scene, let's see, in that scene, you'll see the people bring out a Ouija board and the planchette, and they're talking to the spirit world, and the planchette actually levitated off the Ouija board, and it levitated up real high, and it shot right off. Now, back in those years, there was no one that could do that, and there was no invisible wire, no invisible thread. It really shot off. Apparently, what I found out, that this building, the land or the building that they were in that did this movie, was haunted. So it was already preset. So I would say your best bet to do is to look for that movie called The 13th Ghost and watch it, and you'll see for yourself and see if you can find the invisible wire. You won't find it, and there's no way they could have fixed it that way, or even to do even a better job and say, well, anybody can do this now. No, they didn't back then. They couldn't. There's no way they could have found a way of doing it. And there was no people wearing green outfits and make it look like as there's toothpaste flying in the air. No, this is where it all happened, folks, because people don't realize there's so many activities of paranormal activity. Let's look, for example, here's one here, what you may not know, and you remember seeing the movie The Wizard of Oz. Okay. Now, The Wizard of Oz, the movie itself, where they're singing, they're off to see the wizard. All four of them going down the path, the yellow brick road. In the distance, you see the trees in the background, but you're going to see a shadow of someone as if they're hanging off a rope, swinging back and forth like this. Okay, swinging back and forth. Now, why was there something hanging from a rope in the far distance shadow, swinging from a rope, and there's a person hanging off of it? Apparently, someone who played, one of the actors who played the Munchkin, hung himself, committed suicide on the set during the movie, and no one paid attention in the story. So then accidentally someone found this. So they found out later that one of the actors who played a Munchkin, okay, little person, hung himself there, and I guess whatever happened, we don't know what the story was. All I know is that in the background, if you see it, you see the shadow, that there's a body hanging from a rope in the far distance. Now, they also said after he died, the whole movie set itself was haunted. Okay, it was never the same after, because it took them months to finish the movie. But in the meantime, a lot of activity started to happen. Same thing with the movie Exorcist. Okay, where Linda Blair played the little girl who was supposed to be possessed. Now, I felt bad for Linda Blair after, because I mean, she's only a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, or 10, 11, or 12. I'm not sure what age. This one was between 10 or 12. She played the little girl that was possessed. Okay, possessed by a demon. I'm not going to say the devil, was by a demon. Now, during this movie, the movie itself wasn't always on a specific set. What they did is they reenacted it. The people that got the idea where it came from there was actually one of the houses in Hollywood that actually was majorly haunted, and they used part of that house as a set. And so apparently also there was so many different things that did happen that even the grips got scared. There was 2 or 3 lights way up above that are hung up by the grips, and those things suddenly just crashed, and killed one of the men, labor guys. It crushed him. Now, it should never have fallen whatsoever. It was attached, but for some reason something went and down it came. That's just before and after the scene of her head spinning off the bed. Remember when the priest challenged her, and then her head spun around, and then the green soup thing idea, and then that's pretty well what it is. It was based on, what you guys may not know, it was based on a true story. I should have brought the video out. But there's actually Christopher St. Booth, his paranormal team. They knew of this priest who actually there's 3 priests that actually did the exorcism of a haunted boy, and the haunted boy was based. The real truth about the haunted boy was based from his what he went through, and they made it into the movie. They put a little girl in exchange of it. So that booklet, this is all of, I've got copies. I got a copy of the I guess you'd say writings of the priest telling the story what happened while this little boy was possessed, and it was very similar to what you've seen in the movie, but even sometimes worse. This boy levitated off his bed. He was levitating all over the room, and then back down again. The bed was shaking all the time, and then he had cuts and slices all over his bodies. And then they tried to go. The demon tried to go after the priests. Now, since then, the 2 priests had passed away, and then when Christopher St. Booth and his brother and the guys were working on that team to talk to the priest about, because they decided to go back to the same building and reinvestigate where that haunted boy was, where he was haunted, possessed. They went back there to reenact it, okay, to see what did happen. And next thing you know, the boy, I guess the spirit of the boy came through a little bit, but they had, again, almost like like it's a reinvent or the beginning of what happened. And even Christopher and his brother and everyone in there felt it. They actually felt the emotion, the attack. And Christopher was never the same after they did the investigation. He can tell you that himself. They have a website called Spooked TV, Spooked TV, SPOOKED, Spooked TV, and you'll see a video called The Haunted Boy. Watch the video. Order it. Seriously, order it. It's based on a true story. Okay. So that is exactly what had happened. And when they did this, again, when they did the documentary on it, and then again, we go back to Linda Blair, the same, when Hollywood was using it in a way to just to show the public that this sort of thing can exist. But what happened was that Hollywood, not Hollywood itself, but the public, the churches went too far. They decided to believe that, even it's a movie, they decided to believe that Linda Blair was a demon, that she was possessed, and they believed that she was a terrible person. They were making up all kinds of stuff. And then there were so many priests that want to go to her house and have her cleansed, depossessed, you know. So what they had done, same with the Amityville movie, yeah, same thing. Now that's Al and his wife. But with this one here, they, like I said, they damn near ruined Linda Blair's career. It took her a long time. She had to wait, when, I guess, between the age of 12 until she became a young teen. I'm not going to say teen, a young woman, around 21, 22. It took her that many years to reinvent herself, to get into romances and comedies. And then a few years later, someone wanted to bring back Amityville, and I'm sorry, bring back The Exorcist again and have her come back. And it was never the same. They bungled it up, and even Linda Blair was not comfortable in wanting to do it. She did a farcical comedy of it. She played the character that she was, and they were made a farcical, and she was having fun with that character, but it wasn't the same. Again, they tried to ruin, and then again the church started up again. Oh, she's back at it again. We need to, she needs to be depossessed. We need to stop that woman. She should never be. And really, they're going too far again. For some reason, anytime anybody does any type of movie that relates to any kind of depossessing evilness, I've been noticing a lot of the churches, these evangelicals, they have a tendency of wanting to go after these actors, and because they're believing it. Somebody says, "Oh, you should see this movie; it's really good." Next thing you know, "Oh, he or she is possessed." Oh no, they shouldn't they shouldn't do that, and they should not make a movie because they're praising that demon. No, they're not praising the demon. These guys are acting out a story because it's based on true facts. A lot of these stories that you see that are in these movies are based on research. Okay, now let's use Constantine for a minute. There's a movie called Constantine. Remember? Guess who did Constantine? You remember? Okay. Constantine. Now, Constantine was supposed to be one of the rejects. He basically was. He was a smoker, heavy smoker. He was supposed to be dying. And there was an angel that was protecting him, but making sure that he'll never die. But his job was to stop all the bad ones, the real bad demons. But he learned how to fight, and he studied not the dark arts, but he studied how to stop the dark arts. Okay, because basically he lived a guiding a light, but he also went farther, and he gave his life. He was fighting against the darkness, and he was making sure that no way, no darkness is going to exist. And he fought right to the end. He's willing to give his life and his soul, even for a woman that he felt that should not have been should have not have been taken away, or should never be taken away. But for something, what happened was that in the end, what did he do? He went out of his way, gave his life to save her soul, and she got rescued. She got saved. But what happens? The the devil came in, or the devil was whoever it was, start grabbing him and start pulling him into the dark side. And he couldn't. Why could he not pull him in? Because Constantine knew, if you give your life for God, they can't pull you in the darkness. And that's what he was doing. He was fighting with the light, for the light, against the darkness. This is what we've been doing for generations. As a reader, a healer, a psychic, and a medium, these are just given words. These are just titles that are given to us. When I grew up as a kid, those two words, well, actually not that second word, but the word psychic did not exist in my family. It never even came about. And even when you go to a spiritualist church, and actually the one in Manitoba is one of the oldest ones in Manitoba, was actually established back in the 1870s, they hardly even used the word psychic. It was like a medium, spirit connection, a spiritualist, or a spirit seeker, or a seer, or gifted. But there was never the word psychic until someone decided in England, as part of Europe, decided, hey, it was actually a Greek person that said, oh, you think you're psychic? And that's where the word got connected. In Greece, someone used the word in Greek, psychic, means soul speaker or soul seer, and that's where they used that name. That's how it began. And yet you'll see it in the Bible, the new Bibles that come out. You'll see the word in there. They'll put in there and say, beware of the psychic. The psychic is evil. Well, how can we be evil when we are actually helping people? We're not talking to the devil. We're talking to God, because God chose us. We're chosen to do the job. Okay. Let's see here. Where is that? As a teenager, Linda says, as a teenager with my friends, I placed my hand on the planchette and it shot out away from me. That was enough for me. Okay. And let's see, had a week of sleepless nights after that movie. Yeah, we're talking about that. Let's see, day after I saw it, the priest was interviewed on TV. Was tricked into seeing it, Linda says, and can't listen to the Tubular Bells now. You know what? Tubular Bells didn't bother me as much. I didn't mind it, but because the Tubular Bells, that's a little different. Tubular Bells actually was that song that was playing. I remember that song quite well. It was all to do with the connection to the werewolf, and it had nothing to do with the demonic. It was the werewolf. There's a guy that, what was his name now, who did Tubular Bells? It's been years now. I forgot his name. But he, I remember playing it a lot, but I listened to this song, and in the end, you can hear the, and then, so you can tell the Tubular Bells represent that, this man was actually transitioning into a werewolf. Or wolf man. That's what it really meant. But it was, people may not realize that music at a certain tone, a certain pentatone, it can place you in a way whether you are actually at a low self-esteem or higher self-esteem. It's a vibration. It has, like, we call it pentatone. You'll see people play the flute, and they'll play a key of E, not always a key of C or a D. E is very commonly played because it has 144, 140 gigahertz. So it depends on each individual. Lon Chaney, Lon Chaney played the Wolfman. Let's see here. Linda says, priest called me for help. People who saw the film went nuts. Yeah, only the good came out of that. As it strengthened my spirituality, I can see how it terrified people. Great for you to help. Diane. Okay, Diane is telling a story here. So, yeah. So everyone is in the chat rooms are saying here, yeah. There's it's interesting how we somehow get caught up in some of the music, and I'm only one part, some music that actually I'm noticing that there the last maybe 5 or 10 years ago, there's a group, a band that was doing nothing but gluttering, and guys were wearing really like dark demonic whatever clothing, makeup, whatever, and then they were doing signals of the devil, whatever have you, and then they're just roar down there, and they call it music. And I'm going like, that's not music, guys. It's in the wrong category. But some kids out there were trying to be different, and they try to find something. So this is great music. I love this one. And okay, good for you. So, and it's not just, someone actually said, well, hip hop is evil too. At the beginning, hip hop didn't come out as evil. Hip hop has actually all to do with being an individual, trying to find individuality. And some of it went too far where they started using slang, gesturing of women and degrading women of their body parts and their appearances in public. That's where it went too far. And it made it too sexual, like too sexually. They're trying to say that men can say whatever they want in the song, and to basically was critiquing women's personality, women's approach about sure, there's some men were defending others and say they talk about, for example, say that with some women, women could be commenting about a girl being large or fat or a little slightly overweight. And look at her, she's got a bigger butt than others, right? Well, so what? But that's exactly what they did. They were making you believe that this guy was a hero. They're making you believe all of these things that, like, I don't hate hip hop. There's some songs I do like, okay? Because I'm actually myself, I'm a DJ. I've played some of the songs. But there are certain ones that I don't care for because they really hurt. If some of you women out there, listen carefully to the words. Some of these words, these men are really insulting your character, and they get away with it, and no one pays attention to that. Oh no, it's just a song. No, because it goes too far. Because what happens is these men will keep on making these songs to the point where it's okay to go ahead and slam a woman about her size, her personality, her features, what she looks like, and then they'll start making the videos where they're making where the girls are showing everything as much as they can to get away with, to expose themselves, to the point now today there's nothing there to, I'm not going to use the word fantasize, there's nothing there to be curious about it regarding a woman. Hardly anything there now, because all it really now, if you think about someone that you're interested in, would be, say, a date or girl, the first thing that someone tells them, oh, don't bother, leave them alone. You don't need to talk to them. No, don't bother. Because you're better off just being single. Don't talk to them because they think they're better than you. So it's coming to that point now where people are beginning to lose. Men are beginning to lose. Young men today are beginning to lose hope or faith in themselves to actually be interested in wanting to date. Same with young women having, like thinking, well, where am I going to go now from here? Now they're saying, don't do this and don't do that. It's just still be six feet apart, and got to wear this and got to wear that. And you got to wear all these little objects in my body so I won't get touched and handled and whatever. Like, guys, you are responsible for yourself, but listen carefully to your music and find something that you need to find that's more relatively um, calmer, more soothing. Start going listen to some of the spiritual music. I'm not talking about church music. I'm talking about there's some really good people out there that play great music. It's great for try to find some meditation music. Doesn't always have to be top 40. I'm not saying to stop listening to top 40, but try something different. Try something new. You'll see the difference. Like whenever I travel on the highway, I will play music. I'll play one song that's maybe 15, 20 minutes long. And it's not a piano. It's not piano tunes. It actually it's a variety of songs. It's a variety of music, but this is all mixed from a mixer, and because I can do it, but it's mixed with a mixer, and you put in there, and you have a woman's voice in there, and it sounds very cryptic, and cryptic in a way, not a negative way, but very serene, like as if you're looking in a valley and you can hear her singing. And say you're in Ireland. Let's go to Ireland, for example. Just visualize visualize the country Ireland, and you can hear that sound, the pitch of a bagpipe. They're Irish bagpipes, okay? And they're got a in the background. Now you're hearing that, and it sounds. Now you're bringing that in, and now you're bringing the sounds of the winds and sounds of the birds and the ocean. Then they put the music into that. That's more soothing, better for you if you really want to enjoy a song. Like, for example, yes, Linda Stooley says Enya, Enya. Yes, her music's fantastic. So there's a lot of good musicians out there, singers out there that plays music. Now, a reason why they weren't top 40 in a radio station is because they're not recognized by a label, a specific label. Sony would never touch them. Why? Because they're not going to sell their soul. Do you understand? Anybody who's doesn't get signed, and there's some really great singers out there, some really great people do all kinds of entertaining, and yet a lot of people out there don't get signed with a label. Why? Because Sony will say to you, I have a contract here. If you sign your soul to this, sign your life with us, we'll make you famous. We'll make you famous, and you'll be the most richest person in the world. But when they hear that word, sell your soul, or someone shows up at your house, or somehow that person walks up to you, and you don't have a comfortable feeling, that person's coming up to you and says to you, here, I can make you rich. I can make you very, very famous. Here's a contract. Let me poke your finger. Here's the pen, and put your finger there and just make your fingerprint, and sell your soul, and I'll make you rich. Don't do it. And many people, no matter who they are, even for a TV series, people sold their souls. Not just movies, TV series. If they want to get one more famous, you'll hear about it. You don't see them anymore, do you? You seldom ever see anybody on TV that's as famous now. It's a lot quieter. The Hollywood movies in California is all as thinned out a little bit. Why? Because people are beginning to wake up. They're seeing the truth. They're not trusting the public, the media. They're the media, mainstream media. They're trusting themselves. They want to look for something different. And people are beginning to speak up for themselves, as you are speaking up for yourselves. And you're doing the same thing. You're researching, you're looking, say, where do I fit? How do I get started? Where do I go from here? I don't know what to do. I'm having sleepless nights. I'm having, so-and-so dreams. I'm having, myself, for example, I'm having more dreams. I've been having more and more dreams every night. And I remember them. More and more dreams every night. And these are messages, futuristic messages for everyone. Why? Because Spirit wants to make sure you guys know what's going on. Because there's still people out there today still thinking that this whole thing is over. or we're going back getting our lives back again. It is over, yes, but we're still stuck in that place. Okay, we're still stuck in that little bit of place that we're still trying to figure out. Say, well, okay, where do I go from here? I want to go to here, but I want to go to the next step. But how come am I stuck here? Or why is the government playing the games and holding us back by saying, "Oh, well, now we got to increase the prices of food. Now we want to make a bird flu. Now we want to make this, and we want you to have that, and you got to do this if you want that. You got to be locked down to do this if you want that." That's a scare tactic. They're trying to see how far they can control you. Now, this is not something that's new. It's been ongoing every third generation. Every third generation. It happened the First World War. It happened Second World War. Even happened during the wars before them. Every third generation. Why every third generation? It's because you would not remember. They made sure that you would not know the history over 100 years ago. What happened then? So they made sure that every third generation, about whatever it's a war, whether it's a corruption of some sort, that's what they were going to do. And they actually swore on the Devil's Bible that they were going to try their darndest to corruptly control the world and to depopulate, because that was their ongoing goal. They did 500 years ago. That was what they wanted to do. So everyone started following this faith of the darkness. But you also have these other people that are not following the darkness and are fighting against them. So they've been fighting for generations. And this is what Spirit told me. They said they've been fighting against them for generations. So you got different, that's why they had the Crusades. These men that carry these big white sheets over their bodies, front and back, and the big red crosses, those men were there for one reason, was to keep the peace. But there was people who were in the kingdoms that were trying to control us, and to say, when we can never get rich, they want to make sure that we were just barely comfortable, but not go further. Any further ahead than you think. And if you think you're going to get further ahead, then they made sure you didn't get enough. So unless you can do something for the rich person, and they'll say, here, I'll give you this if you can do this for me. And that's exactly what it was. Everyone was doing a favor for someone else to get ahead. But that wasn't a favor for a good person. These favors were for bad people. And in the meantime, whatever favor you did for them, they did something to you to make you believe that you're doing something good. Meantime, you got entangled into their favors, and they included your name in their situation. So if by some chance, if they go down, they're going to pull you in too, because you helped them do the favor, even though you know you're innocent, but they're going to try and pull you in. And you don't let them make you feel guilty. None whatsoever. Okay. Travis says, not going to lie, I saw ads a few months back to apply to be in the new. Okay. Sea Void commercials. Okay. The Sea Void commercials. Really? He saw the ads a few months back to apply to be in the new one. So this young man is an actor, and they called him up and asked him if he can be in a video to do a brand new sea, okay, which is, I call the snake bite videos, the snake bite commercials, because they want to make a new one, which basically relates to birds, relates to cows. So they want to create a brand new scare tactic again. Okay, this is what they're doing. Now, who's making these commercials? Where are these commercials coming from? Who is creating these commercials? Well, guess what? Those commercials are made by Hollywood. Okay, Hollywood and secret societies that are still they're still on they're basically doing is they're sitting on they're on their last, I guess to say the last outreach to see who else they can say, here, follow me, I'll pay you, you can do this for me, do this for me. But here's the thing, if you did agree and sign with them to do that commercial, you're just as guilty as the rest, because when that commercial comes out and your picture's on there, okay, even though you're just an actor, when your picture's on there, guess who's going to come after you after this whole thing gets exposed? But the real truth is, once it gets exposed, the military is going to come pick up those actors. You don't want to be part of it. Okay, those are kind of the same kind of actors that they will also call up to do these. They're called crisis actors, and they call them up, okay, to play a video, and they'll do say a battle scene somewhere. They'll make up a name of a country that's at war. Okay, that maybe something what we're doing right now. They're all these protesters out there fighting or arguing amongst each other between the Palestine and another country. Next thing you know, let's hire some crisis actors and we'll make this video, make it look like as if, it's really bad over there. And they'll make the video, then they put it on CNN or they'll put it on ABC or they'll put it on Global and say, see, it happened. That's exactly what they're doing, guys, because not one real, true journalist would ever leave the country to show the truth, what's really going on, because they're getting paid not to tell you the truth. I'm not kidding you. And I watched it. I've seen some really, I thought there were really great journalists at one time many years ago, but because they were told to follow the script. When the media bosses tell you to follow the script, that everybody has to say the same words and repeat the same words in every TV station, every radio station, tell you to follow the script, that's not journalism. Okay, that is not journalism. Never was. There's a difference. Journalism represents you. Why do you think I'm able to talk so much on my program? Why do you think I do so many stories regarding this research? Why do I talk about psychics and mediums and spirits and that sort of thing? Why do I talk about all these things that are happening across the world? Because it affects us all, not just me alone. It's not about me. It's about all of you, every one of you. Okay, whether it's an outreach or reach out, but I'm showing you guys something. Be aware of your surroundings. Okay, you got your governments and they're still playing the game. They're still playing the game. Okay, called governmenting. Govern means to control. Menting is to mentally control you. Okay, mentally your mind. Govern your mind. That's what we call government. Control the mind. That's what it means. So watch them carefully. Whenever they will sway, and you'll see them smile. If they're smiling out there and they keep on saying, the Canadians want this, or the Americans want this. Watch carefully, folks. Listen carefully. You already know that a lot of these leaders are losing their place. And a lot of these leaders, we already know where the real leaders are going, right? But the actors that are playing these leaders have to play the game, and they still have to expose themselves in public for you to see the faults in them, so you can actually truthfully know what's going on. Okay. Wendy says in the chat room, there is still a battle against governments who don't serve the interests of their people. Saw some great shows by a guy called Tucker Carlson touring Australia, and he really handed it to the mainstream media here. Yes. Tucker Carlson was placed in the media a long time ago by Trump's people. And not just Trump's people. I'm talking about military. They told Tucker, we need you for this. We'll watch your back. We'll cover you, but you need to do this. Because Tucker already had seen the exposure of stuff. Tucker is second-generation journalist. Second generation. His father was a journalist as well. His father was in the media too before him. But Tucker wanted to be more outspoken, because he knew very well that he had something to say, but he, there's there's something about this man that is showing you, and he laughs at the world. Like Tucker is not even sitting there going, I'm serious. He'll laugh at it. Why? Because you have to laugh at it. If you get too serious, and that's why I always enjoy what I talk about, because it's to give you inspiration, to show you, look, see, research, dive in. Don't get caught up in the try not to get caught up in the circle of saying, well, they said this and they said that, and they told you that you have to only focus on this. No, take off that piece, dismantle it, and look around it. Look at who's serving that person. Okay, I know way much more about Trudeau and Krista Freeland and Trudeau's wife and anybody else on top of that. I know more about them now than I ever would in my life, ever in my life. Why would I want to really care about these 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 people in my life? I really didn't want to get into politics. I really didn't. But they're politically trying to control us. And they're saying, well, it's the law. We're doing it I'm doing it my way because I said so. I'm going like, you said so, but you were elected by us for you to help us. Well, I changed my mind. Think about it. She's not there to help you. She's there to help herself. Same with Trudeau. He was never there to help you. He was there to help himself. He was an investor. He was an investor in property. He took land from us. Okay. Justin Trudeau bought the pipeline. He bought Trans Mountain Pipeline. Okay. He wanted to make sure that the First Nations people were almost at that point of actually having to be able to shut down the pipeline to control it here in BC. And Justin came in and, nope, I'm going to buy the company. Now you can't touch it. So he'll send his bad boys, RCMP, in military uniform and scrape the people, the Indigenous people, out of their lands and say, we're putting the pipeline in and you can't do nothing about it. That's exactly what Trudeau had done. He didn't care about you. He never cared about you. Never, ever cared about you. In fact, he's the biggest racist in the world. He hated people with different race. Still did to this day. Why do you think he wore a blackface? He took great pride doing that. That was just to slam you. Of all races. He didn't care. So, but yet some people say, oh, he's just joking around because it's Halloween. No, he did this. He's been to costume parties that had nothing to do with Halloween. Like, he did some really gross stuff. You only know so much. You only saw a few pictures. There's a lot more, but he made sure that those pictures weren't to be exposed in public. But guess what? Now they're slowly coming out, and you're going to start seeing more. And they're going to go like, what the? Are you kidding me? He's worse than you think. Way worse. So, let's see. Travis is that what I noticed that with most of these war videos, they all have clean, pristine armor and guns. Yeah, it's true. Not everybody has a clean gun or a dirty gun, do they? Clean faces and hands. Yep. Sometimes stock footage. I noticed this to this to Linda. Okay, didn't that happen on the Vancouver Island? His father was a piece of work as well. Yeah. Oh, you mean Pierre? Yeah, Pierre. He's another one that was not so pretty either. And in fact, one of my kookums up in northern Alberta said, she warned me, and she says, many years ago, she told me, she says, don't follow Justin's, everybody wants to vote for Justin. And she said, don't. She said, don't vote for Justin. She says, if he's going to be like his father. And I wasn't sure. And she, no, he's going to be like his father. And then she says, because she said, what his father did to our people, he'll do it to us too. And you know what? She was right. Okay. So the first time that Trudeau got elected in, She was right. She knew. Mike Cookham knew. So you just don't. Yeah. Well, so, anyways, so what we're doing, like I said before, tonight, I'm talking about psychics and mediums, mediumship as well. So we're opening the lines too, 360-566-2875. So if you guys are interested and want to get a quick read, anything new you want to find out, you're more welcome to call in. Let's see here and see. What else I got here? Saw some great shows by a guy called, okay, you saw Tucker Carlson, so I never heard of him before. Yeah, Tucker Carlson, yeah, I remember you mentioning him already, or you mentioned him on the show. I mentioned you before. Some people may not know who he is, but once you start watching some of Tucker Carlson's work, it's amazing. Like, he's right up, especially he went down to visit Putin in Russia. Putin actually gave him a whole bunch of secret files, copies of secret files to give to Trump. That was interesting. Why would Putin give Tucker Carlson copies of secret files and give them to, and he had the privilege to see them himself. He had the privilege to see them himself, and then to give them to Trump to say, here, you need to have a look at these two. It's like, I think Trump already had seen the files, but, you know, he's got a copy too. But I think is that Tucker had to see this. But again, from a journalist's point of view, he had to see the truth, which made a whole lot of sense. Let's see. Diane says, when he wore the headdress, I know it was hate. Headdress. Yeah. Yeah, Trudeau never should have got a headdress. None whatsoever. That was the worst ever in the world. But there's a bit of a story about that rumor. I'm not going to put the rumor on the show, but there were certain things that I did not like to hear, and someone said, "Oh, it's true," and I'm like, I pretty well got an idea why. But again, why would anybody put a headdress on the Pope? We already know that this man actually was the one that actually helped create pedophile centers. So he was the one that started it all, or got involved in it all. Like, not just him, but the popes before him too. Generational, and people don't realize that the Pope was responsible. He was the one that actually he was the one that helped create the residential schools. So they just don't. I think people, well, I apologize that that shouldn't have happened. No, his goal was to depopulate. He actually admitted himself, said that his goal was to take out the children. Because he was an evil man. I can go really deep into this, but you won't believe how bad this man is, the Pope. He is the evil, the most of all. But the real one is gone. The real Pope is gone. He was taken out in 19 and to Guantanamo Bay. He was taken out a long time ago. Yeah. This Pope here you have here is an actor wearing army boots. Now, when the people went here, I'm going to tell you guys something you may not see or have seen. I'm so sorry. I apologize to people out there that thought they were doing a great thing by having to believe that this Pope got a Pope got a headdress and that he was going to honor the First Nations people. But what I know, when the people went down to Italy and seeking his apology, and they wanted him, and they went there and they decided to do a festival or some sort of a music and entertaining him, the whole 9 yards. And I watched one of the videos where the Pope was sitting in the chair with his right leg and foot over the right arm of the chair, and it was actually in an army boot. He was wearing an army boots, and you guys didn't even see that. He didn't pay no attention. He wasn't wearing slippers. He wasn't wearing the red shoes. He's wearing army boots. That was telling you that he was military. He was an officer, military, wearing a Pope mask. But no one paid attention to that. None. They were body doubles. He just swung his right leg over the side of the chair, and he's talking to people, man. Italian. voice modulator and all. And I watched it and go like, you guys are not seeing the damn proof. This is not the real one. You don't see it. I don't want to see it. No. And then people have actually said to me, you're crazy. You don't know what to talk about. You don't know what to talk about. I know what I've seen. I know who's not here. I was told because I've got friends in the military, guys. They know. They tell me. I get the information. Well, they're not telling me directly, but you get intel, right? And we have that intel. We're shown. We're given to us for to share it. But the public don't want to hear it. They don't. So I can't pull your hair to get your attention. I can't hold you down to say, listen to me. I can't push you against the wall and say, look, you need to stop looking away. You have to just spend the time and listen. Spend the time and look. Our world now is doing better than ever before. Our air is getting cleaner. Oh my God, it's getting cleaner. You can tell the difference. I can breathe. Our vegetables or fruits are growing so well. This year, my blueberries are larger, thicker, and bigger than ever have been seen. Last year, my grapes grew so large, like so huge, they're so nice. And because the new people that took over the skies are spraying not the bad stuff, they're spraying the organics to clean the air, to bring back the healthy world that we all are in. That's what it is. They're fixing everything. They're not removing it. We're not taking us out now. We're not being depopulated. We are being cleansed. Everything is going through a better. I feel more alive than ever before in my life. I feel more healthier than ever been in my life. You can breathe. I'm sure a lot of people if any of you actually out there watch this show, anybody you know that actually does have asthma, have you ever complained about your asthma lately? Or bronchial issues? Have you ever complained about that lately? No. Has anybody walk around with these in their mouth all the time? The doctors are wondering why they're not prescribing these anymore, because the air is getting cleaner. It has nothing to do with the climate change. Nothing to do with that. Okay, guys? Nothing. It's what they're spraying in the sky. They're cleaning up the air because the nanoparticles are being removed. Gates's corporation was shut down. Okay? Done. Gone. His corporation was shut down. Trump knocked it out. Okay? So what Trump's people are doing is they're re-cleansing the sky. They're putting it back into where it should be. That's why Mother Earth is beginning to look more greener, more healthier. And sure, we're having our forest fires, but the forest fires are not started by cigarettes. Our forest fires are started by the bad guys. They're still trying to make you think. Okay? They're still trying to make you think, oh, you need to stay home. You need to know that you can't go out and leave the city and live out in the country somewhere. Oh, you can't do this and you can't do that. No. So we're going to burn some trees down. We want to buy all the land from you. This is what actually Bill Gates' idea was, to remove you off all land ownership so he can control everything across the world because he's a trillionaire. Okay? And he signed contracts. Everybody signed contracts. Well, whoever signed contracts with him, and so that's why he was able to get away with all this stuff. And again, the New World Order, WEF, World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab's group, a whole 9 yards. This is what their group. This is what their global goals were, was to control the masses. But guess what? They're not controlling the masses now. Wendy's asking, she was not sure about what's happening out there. What's happening, Wendy, is they want anybody who's doing something bad there right now, just because they want the public to fight back. It's going to happen here in Canada. We're going to see it too. We've already seen it. The South Asians, East Indians, Sikh community have already been protesting about, about the farmers. It says no food, no farmers, or no farmers, no food. And they've been protesting a couple of years, long before even all this ever began to happen. And no one ever paid attention because they thought it was just between just the East Indians and them. No, it was all about us. It represented everybody, the whole of BC, whole of Canada, and across the world. So these groups are trying to play the game of world control, and these are their agendas, is to try to take over what's left. So, and if there are any forest fires, it's because we do have underground tunnels still that need to be cleaned out, and some of them are trying to escape out of these tunnels, which actually were part of human trafficking organizations. BC had the biggest human trafficking organization going for years, and it all related to Robert Pickton's people. And again, there's more connections to that as well. Trudeau knows all about it because he was there. He participated in it. Freeland participated in it. Her Pickton's sister, Linda, participated in it. They're all part of it. Okay, Harper was part of it. There's so many people that are all in it. And yet, people say, well, how do you know? How do you know? Prove it. How do you know? I got the research. But I'm not going to show you here, but not in this show, because as soon as I put it on there, guess what? You meet, the you on the show. No, not accepted here. Can't talk about it. Can't show this. No, take it down. And they scrap it. So this way here, if you want to find any information, you go to Telegram. And Telegram, that's the best place to go to. It's just so easy, folks. If people are asking, how do you do Telegram? All you got to do is you download the app, Telegram app, create your own page, just like Facebook. Create your own page. Look for me. And I also have a page on there called the True North Strong and Free. And join the page, and you'll see every true story stuff is going on that's happening across the world. Now, what I do advise you to do, don't get so caught up in worrying about what's going to happen next. All is just to bring you awareness of what to be prepared for. Okay, not to get scared or worried and go, oh my God, we're not going to have this, and oh my God, no, you're well taken care of. Every one of you are well taken care of. We're all taken care of. We just have to keep on living. Okay. But I was told that by the end of 2024, which will be, remember the 5th of November. Don't forget that date. Remember the 5th of November. And there's a line to it. Because once that's announced, then you'll know exactly what's happening. Because it's pretty well, there will never be a World War III. People are trying to play the scare game again. Oh, we're at World War III. No, we're not. No World War III ain't going to happen. Because Trump took care of it. They made sure, no, it's not going to happen. Done. There's a lot of things that we need to understand. That's why there's so many readers and psychics out there today that have worked so hard try to show you the visuals of what's going on. And like I tell people this, a true psychic, if they went out and got themselves snake bitten 3 or 4 times, then they're not true psychics, because they fell for it. They would be warned ahead of time what to be aware of. Now, sure, mind you, we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all go through the same processes. But if you guys notice, there has been a lot of people passing quickly, suddenly, heart attacks, suddenly cancer, strokes, real quick, brain aneurysms, boom, real quick, just gone, just like that. And there's no control. And the doctors will say, can't stop it. There's no cure for it. Can't stop it. Why? Because that's what they put into you. Right? Now, that's them telling you that. But there are other ways to repair the electrodes. And if you want to find out, you go to Telegram. It's there. It shows you how to fix your electrodes. Okay? And let's fix the TV set. You get better channels there. Understand? That's all I can say. So, okay. So, yeah, Wendy goes, I do try to look on the positive. And Wendy, you're the most positive person I ever met in a long time. Like, I mean, Nick, you know me, like I've got people asking me from England even come on their show and talk to them, and like and I've seen you come in there in the chat room and chat with them. So yeah, we are in there for a reason, folks. We're here to share our great information for people to see what's happening in the future, and it's not on the bad part. We're gonna have a very good future. Okay, there's so many wonderful healing programs that are gonna be coming out. People are gonna be absolutely surprised. Are we going to lose our gas? Are we going to have a gas shortage? No. Are we going to lose all of our gasoline propelled vehicles? No. Are we going to have electric cars and electric bikes and electric vehicles? Not as much as you think. Why? Because those Teslas will be actually recalled. Why? Because the batteries are not perfect. Okay. The batteries are run, and actually the labor to make these batteries are made by children. And this is, again, another small thing that needs to be taken care of. There's a lot of faulties still in those electric vehicles. There's too many people dying in them, explode inside them. So those electric vehicles are not as safe as driving a regular common gasoline propelled vehicle. Gasoline, oil is natural from Mother Earth. It's not a fossil fuel. It's from Mother Earth, and it has always been and has always will. So we'll be driving those vehicles the rest of our lives. That's normal for all of us. We don't have a climate problem. The government used the word climate problem, climate change, and they're talking about the word carbon. Well, carbon actually is what we use. Okay, we breathe out carbon out of our mouth, out of our butt. Why do you think you'd stick a lighter up your rear end and still burn it? We're carbon. And yet they want to shut down a cow, put cow plugs in them. They want to charge you X amount of dollars. What is it? They want to charge $50 a month for every cow that belches or farts. This is what Bill Gates wants to charge you. He wants to, they want to charge you, every farmer, money for a cow, for X amount of cows, for cow per month. So they're basically charging a cow, the farmer, per cow, a fee for expelling gas out of his rear end. That's ridiculous. They want to eliminate the chicken and redevelop the chicken in a lab. And it's what it is. They take the muscle of the chicken or the memory of the chicken and redevelop it where it's still alive while you eat it. No. Actually, that Regeneron machine that they're using for making meat for you is actually very similar to making clones. They're cloning animals. Yeah, that's a cloning machine, guys. Do you get it now? Those regeneration machines for food is actually, those are cloning machines. Look at it a little closer. They're cloning machines. If they clone a chicken in those machines, and they say, well, you can kill it and you eat it, that's cloning. That's not natural. That it should be where the chick is born from the egg, from the chicken to the egg, from the egg to us, not from a chicken to a chicken. It's cloning. Let's see. They are also trying to charge farmers here for having dams. Damn. Oh my God. Let's see, thoughts on third printed meat. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 3D meat. Don't even touch it, guys. 3D meat? No, don't touch it. That's not healthy for you. In fact, it'll do more harm than good. A lot of different fuels used to make EVs, not so green. Push on the solar as well, but they are different to get rid of and when to get old and cause contamination in landfills. Let me tell you guys something. If you don't know, go to a website. There's a fellow who actually lived in China for about 10 years. He's originally from the North Africa. He actually did a story in China regarding the EV cars, EV bikes, EV scooters, anything EVs there. And what he had done was he was telling you where they all are. These are all brand new EVs that are no good. Why? Because they burn, they explode, people get hurt. There's over 2.5 million of those items in a field that cannot be used, and they're brand new, and they keep on building them because the government paid the money for it, thinking that people are going to use them. But there's people that are riding on EV bikes and EV scooters, and actually the scooters would explode and your ass is on fire. And guess what? The same thing happened here in Canada. My wife and I were driving by. She could tell you if I called her in right now in my room, in my studio, and she'd tell you, we drove by coming down the street, King George Highway here where I am, and we had to slow down. There was a fire truck that was actually putting out a fire of an EV bike that came from China. Okay, I'm not kidding you. And I asked the fireman, I said, how many bikes have you guys put out? He says dozens a day. Dozens a day. EV bikes. He says they put out 4 cars already, EV cars. He said they can't put them out. They have to throw a powder over it, and they cannot throw the water on it or it will carry on even bigger. There's something in the battery that when you put water in the battery, it makes it even go more, like larger, and it will explode. Okay? Explode. Are you kidding me? And you guys want to drive Teslas? Okay, Linda says a lot of different fuels used to make EVs. Yep. Okay, thoughts of the 3%. Okay, what about the hydrogen as future fuel? Yes, hydrogen is safe. That time I saw the ad for the commercial for the new C, said you had to have all the dots and boosts to qualify, was $2,000 for the 1 day. Oh my God. Okay. And they're even telling him that he has to be completely boosted before he can actually do the commercial. We even got our hospitals again telling people they have to line up for the new boosts. And they even ask you in the hospital, have you got your boosters recently? You know what I tell them? None of your business. And then they get upset. Well, you need to put on a mask. I said, no, I'm not putting on a mask. I said, because I said, I will charge you. And there's actually a website here called Action for Canada, ACTION, number 4, Canada. And you can actually get the form online. I would say grab a few extra forms, like half a dozen forms with you. And this form is law. And you have the right. And you can sign it, fill it out, ask for that person's name, fill it out. Okay, you've been served. You will go to court, see you in court. You've been served. You cannot. It's illegal to ask if you've ever been V'd. It's illegal to ask you if you've ever had boosters. It's illegal. They cannot ask you about your medical history. None whatsoever. The only people can ask you is your doctor. And if you refuse to tell your doctor, even you have the right to say no. So no one has the right to tell you what you can and cannot do. And not even a commercial can tell you what you have to have and not have, because the people that are running that commercial are going to be charged. Do you know that? they're going to go bye-bye to probably to prison real soon. So Travis did the right thing by not going. So those people on the commercials get about $1,000 or so. Yeah, they're going to go bye-bye to jail soon. So I would say, Travis, if you know anybody that's going to work for them, just say, give them a heads up. Hey, well, if you're ready to go to jail soon, you're not going to go to federal you're not going to go to a provincial jail or federal jail. You're going to a military jail. So if you want to promote this, see a military jail, because they're going to go there. Anybody who pushes it, and they're not supposed to. Witnesses, they're also trying to charge farmers here for having I know you're talking about jams. Like, what it is I think it's Idaho. Idaho actually, they were going to shut down the farmers' water in Idaho, and they're telling the farmers they're not allowed to water their cattle, not allowed to water their fields, the farmers' fields. So they're supposed to suffer. And they're making an excuse. Oh, well, there's a water shortage. There's not a water shortage. You know what it is? There's a metal alloy under Idaho where all the farmers are, and they want that alloy, that metal. And if those farmers get arrested and get the land seized, then the government can come in. It's not Trump's people. This is another group of people. They can come in, which is part of China, by the way. They come in and they take that land, and they will manufacture that alloy, that metal. I can't remember what the metal is. It relates, I think it's Idaho. Yeah. Yeah, something to do with the metals. That the government wants to take away their land away from them and take the land away from them, and so they can actually mine the metals. And that's been ongoing. They're trying to put pressure on them. So anytime that and it's going to happen with you too, Wendy. Anytime any farmers in those regions, so they're saying that they want to shut down the dams, they charge them for having their dams, because those dams, there's something there that the government wants. It's under the farmland, and it's probably may relate to gold, and they want it. That's why they want to shut them down. Okay, so they want to take land from the farmers because gold is, and there's actually in Australia, because I know you're from Australia, there's actually in Australia is famously known for its green gold. So it's called green gold, and it has more value. I'll tell you what green gold is. Yeah. So green gold is worth way more than just yellow gold. And yep, it's in Australia. So they're mining. So your green gold is, holy crap. Wow. The value. Australia. Wow. Yeah, it's actually your green gold's in Australia. Here, I'll give you an idea. Okay. So your green gold right now today is $600.89 per ounce. Yeah, on the weight selects. That's holy crap. I know. Green gold is very, very valuable in Australia and is well known up in Melbourne. So they're going to go after. If you ever hear of any farmers having troubles in Melbourne, that's why they're shutting. They want to shut them down because there's probably politicians that want their land so they can actually, and they're also going after them for under the cryptocurrencies. They want to control that too. Say gold price in Australia right now, regular gold in Australia. 1 gram of gold in Australia for 24 carat is 122 AUD. That's a lot of money. Okay. 1 gram is 122 AUD. That's gold, just common right price of gold. And they are after your gold in Australia. Your governments, your federales are after your gold. Will any chiefs also be arrested? The chief of the community is making questionable deals with a nickel mining company, and most of the community and the councillors want him to resign. For that, Jesse, there will be an internal investigation, and most likely be the military on that one. And once they get found out what's going on, they'll do the investigation. And they wish they never, if there was corruption there, that'll get taken care of. That's all I can say. But it will be under military tribunal, be military investigation, not federal or provincial. It'll probably begin as a federal, because then the new RCMP officers now are being assigned as military officers. So the bad ones are being removed. So he won't even hear the word Royal Canadian Mounted Police. These will be actually military police. No longer under the royalty, but to be under military police. So the RCMP will be reassigned a new position. You'll see new uniforms switch over, just like the military. It's going to change things up. That's going to come probably, I would say, around the end of this year, beginning of next year. You're going to see a huge switch. Melbourne state's capital, but the farm area is also only 3 hours away. Yeah, crazy, huh? So it's still under that area. And again, farmers are being kicked out specifically for, there's actually a metal, not just a green gold, but also another kind of metal it's used for batteries, and they want that. And I think it's potash. Let's try. I could be wrong. Hang on. I wish my friend was here in the room. He could tell me all about it, which one, who's what. Yeah, potash. Potash in that's Oceania. So, yeah, Oceania. So that's part of Adelaide and the Northern Territories, between New South Wales, Western Australia, and the Great Australian. So between, I would say, Melbourne, South Wales, New South Wales, actually is in the surrounding areas of it. But it says Adelaide. So it's, you're going to be, it's going to be interesting. You'll probably end up hearing about it after coming on. Okay, it is the community. It's the community's duty to change leadership. It is the community's duty to change leadership. You can. I mean, Travis knows. Between Jesse and Travis, you guys know. You guys got chiefs in your territories. You have chiefs and council. Everybody has even the community themselves actually say, look, we don't like what you guys are doing, or we don't know why you're doing this. If they're investing in something, they want to find out why. Are you investing personally, or are you doing this for the band? Are you doing it for the community? They need to find out. Because like I said before, there needs to be an investigation. Let's see. Linda says, I refuse to have as well. Good thing I can be stubborn. For what? Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Will they eventually get the municipal city councilors here in BC? Yes, there's really good councilors on there. We got great councilors. She was brought in for a reason. She's the one that basically got rid of McCallum, or forced him out, so to speak. But we do have about maybe 2 or 3 councilors that need to be removed out of position too, because they're going behind her back, and they are McCallum's little buddies, and McCallum's little buddies on the sideline. Now, rumor is that McCallum has dementia or Alzheimer's now as we speak. It makes no difference. Someone's using an excuse that, well, we're not going to bother chasing him down because he's got this. He's 83 years old. I don't care. You commit a felony, you need to be investigated and busted anyways. I don't care what you got. You committed a felony, you've done some major damage to people and harm to people, you need to be taken away. And you've taken too much money, and you've done harm to a lot of people in the community and the animals. So it's not just people, but also the whole area. I mean, pretty well, where I'm living in the Surrey region, it's turning itself into more like a Vancouver, or downtown Vancouver, where they're trying to build more high rises. It's going to be crazy. It's been really, really nuts. It's going to the point that we're losing focus of who we really are, and like as a community. And they're focusing on one group of I will say one group of race of people, and I think that's ridiculous. It should be community. It should be a complete population, not just one-sided. And so there's certain groups of people that have been messing with McCallum, giving him lots of money. It's proven. It was proven in the millions, and he's gotten away with it. And he's walked away scot-free, and no one touches him. Oh, he's an old man. He needs it. No, he doesn't. He divorced his wife over 50 years of marriage, messed around with another woman who's chasing him, and she's actually was on the council too. She's chasing his butt. She's actually... she could be his granddaughter, and she was chasing his rear end still to this day. He lives with her now. She signed a deal that she'll get rid of her child, hand over her child to her ex-husband, divorce him, ex-husband, and no longer talk to the child again, because McCallum did not want to be responsible for the child. Sign over the child, and she's okay. Now I own you, according to him. Like, okay, I'll tell you what to do. Do as I say. And I'm going like, really? How come I know all that? Well, it's because people who are counselors that work there with her, they're told that. They already know the story. And then they tell me, because I'm a journalist. I am there. I'm actually a lot of times I'm actually in City Hall, and I listen to this, and I watch this, and I record it. So I don't like to ruin people's lives, but it gets to be to the point where, why are we having let's put it this way, we call him a sugar daddy in City Hall? Make sense? Why do we need a sugar daddy in City Hall? If we have people that are supposed to be helping our communities, no matter if I'm including all races, then they should. They should be there to help everybody, not just themselves. And see, this is the problem where a lot of these people they become counselors, or become in positions of government. Once they become positions of government, then they'll say, oh, I can do what I want, make money off the city, and start buying property and make money, and whatever land's available is real cheap, I'll buy it myself, and get someone or get a relative to get it for me, and they'll buy it. And like, are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? And that's what they're trying to do. Yeah, I'm answering Eki. I'm actually answering calls, or if you want to call in, 360-566-2875. Or you get a question here, go ahead and ask me. Let's see here. Linda says, will they eventually get to the municipal city councils? They will. Our council are acting like little dictators here in Maple Ridge, arbitrarily making decisions that affect us all. Yes, that this movie is past funny and getting sick. Time for the credits. very, very soon. Yeah, it's going to get cleaned up. And I'll say this for everyone to know. I would say by the end of this year, sometime soon, by the end of this year, we're going to have martial law. Okay, it's going to come. We're not going to have just your, martial law is going to come where you don't have a municipal or federal police officers. You're going to have martial law. You will start seeing, and I'm being straight up about this, guys. It's still going to happen. We're going to have military coming in, full gear. This is important. It's to protect us. Okay, us. They're not here to hurt us. They're here to protect us. The reason why they're here to do this is because they're picking up who's left over, who's the bad boy, bad girl, whatever's left. That's any human trafficking organizations, any child trafficking organizations, all the baddies, politicians, you name it, that are bad, gone. Their records have already been shown and shared. They're coming to get them. Okay, I'm not kidding you guys, including the police officers. Of any bad ones out there, they're gone. They're not kidding around. I'm not talking about Canadian Armed Forces. I'm talking about, like I said before, we merged in. The United States has merged with Canada, as well as Mexico, Australia, and New Zealand. All 5 countries have come together as one. We're all 5 countries now. It will happen. You may think I'm crazy. I'm telling you the truth. It's going to happen. But when it does happen, don't be afraid. Okay, this is the best thing happening for all of us, because we're going to have more freedom, better life, more happier life. Financially, we're all going to be financially well taken care of, stable. And it's going to happen. It's coming our way, because this is the reason why it's about to happen. We need to stop working for the corporation. And that's why the military are taking over, because they're saying corporations are gone. They're done. Bye-bye corporations. You're no longer the law. And even your Canadian government and the American government is a corporation. Okay? You're gone. Bye-bye. Especially Trudeau's group. All Liberal Party people. Bye-bye. I'm not kidding you guys. A lot of them are going to be scooped. Whatever they've done wrong, they're done. That's why they're slowly putting little pins and needles on the walls and say, here's a piece of red string over here, and a red string over here, and a red string over here, and one over here, and we attach them all together and say, oh, there's the guy right there. We'll grab him. It's all connected. Eki says, hi, okay, keep getting migraines. I'm wondering if Spirit knows how I get rid of them and what's causing them. Migraines, okay, first of all, if you're getting migraines, it's because the earth is going through a shift. Now, what you need to do is to get yourself some, I would say, colloidal silver, and shoot it in your throat about 2 or 3 times. And that'll help calm down your migraines. And colloidal silver is natural, so it's not something that I have to worry about. But that YouTube says you can't say that, crazy. No, colloidal silver, everybody has that. Shoot someone in the back of your throat 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 times, about 2 or 3 times, about every 3 times a day, and you'll notice your headaches start going away. And the reason why, because again, we're still going through the shifting of the earth is shifting, and we're going through the vibrational shift from the 3rd dimension to the 5th dimension. So you're beginning to feel it now. Okay. Yeah, Surrey Police Services has got 10 new police cars, but here's the funny thing. They may have 10 new police cars, but they're not going to last long, because most of those officers are ex-RCMP, and some of them also will be investigated again by the military. And those police cars are not going to last long, because if you look at the logo on their badges, it's a Freemason badge. Okay, it's the eye of the Freemason badge. I've seen the symbol that's on this. Because what you guys may not know, but our ex-mayor McCallum actually was a Freemason, and he put that on that badge. Colloidal silver, 3 times a day. Okay, and you inhale it in. You like it, bring it in your throat, and you'll start noticing probably within a matter of a few minutes that your headache's gone. It's just because basically the energy is shifting. Yeah. And sure, we do have the heat and the sunlight and all that, but we need the sun. So it's wonderful. It's a good idea to be outside in the sun and enjoy it. Don't hide out from the sun. You need the sun. Anybody tells you you shouldn't be in the sun. No, you need the sun. It's important to you. That's how we grow. The sun needs to help you grow. If you're short, you'll grow taller. Okay, so let's see here. Diane says there are community police force in built-up areas in TO. She must be talking about Toronto. Toronto, Ontario. Okay. Are we a sector 1? Now I'm going to tell you guys something. You may not know this. In fact, Travis, this is your region, but Alberta. The Nate was on fire yesterday. Why would the Nate University be on fire? Something's in the basement, underground tunnels. Burn, baby, burn. Did you get it? So if Nate's on fire one day, you probably hear you may hear a couple of days after SAIT will be on fire in Calgary. SAIT. These are, if you may not know what Nate is, folks, these are actually tech buildings. These are universities for like people who learn about different kinds of technology. So, yeah, they showed the fire in Nate University's on fire. So same thing. Prince George, about a month ago, 2 ago, Prince George, in the central part of Prince George in BC here, there was a cow boom, like a big building blew up and it collapsed. The whole building went down, and it was an underground tunnel, and it was actually part of a human trafficking group, and the boys went down bye-bye. It was on the news. Didn't say about the people being bad. They never mentioned, just said, oh, building blew up. They're just curious, like, I wonder how that happened. Was that gas? Okay. It was gas. Yeah. Somebody must have had a beer and farted and actually blew up. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, one thing that there is a certain kind of law that's going to be very restrictive, that's going to come very prevalent. There is a law that's being passed that it's illegal to be a racist, but once that comes out, because basically racism was created by the government. It was not created by us people, like everyone else in this world. We were never racist to each other. It was the governments that actually create racism to make us fight amongst each other. There's going to be it's going to be reworded specifically that racism will no longer be in existence. No one can use the color of their skin as a negative, as a racial issue. But if you say, oh, well, you're darker skinned than I am, that's no big deal. They're not making a word about that. No matter what color, that sort of thing, that they're not. So basically, they're going to make this new law that it's not going to impact every race. This is going to make it where it's going to calm the whole world down, that we all work together as a community, as a family. We become brothers and sisters to each other again. So it's going to be a huge change. That one's too. And then there's also our financial status is going to be far greater than we think. That we will all be, I'm not going to use the word awarded, because you're not going to be rewarded, but you also, anything that was illegally taken from you, as far as your finances are concerned, will be returned back to you. And that's happening to everybody across the world, US, United States, and Canada. That will return back to you. You'll find that in your bank account coming in probably within the next few months. They probably may have started already. In a different format, possibly. Now, Diane says it's also illegal to be homeless in the U.S. and later Canada. Well, that is the corporation law. That is not a governed law. It never was a governed law. It was never illegal. That's a made-up story. ask them to look for the numbers, to bring up the Diane, get them to find the numbers where it's illegal to be homeless, because there is no illegal to be homeless. The people that created homelessness were the British. Sorry to say, folks, but the British did. They created homelessness to control the masses, and it was under the guise of the Freemasons. And again, we're going to go further back, where there were children were being sold and sent to other countries. Now, it started from the Dr. Bernardos, and again happened in the United States, all through Canada, Australia, and not Mexico, just within those characteristic regions. So a lot of children were taken away from families or purchased from families to restart a new population. And these children did not want to leave their parents, and they're just shipped off and got paid money. And some were never really born from families. They were incubated, because if you go back into the earlier years, you talk about this big, huge scientific new thing come out called the incubators. Well, these babies were born under incubations. So they're incubating babies just like chicks. And they were doing it, and they were bringing these babies in, baby X, and this baby is coming out. Next thing you know, this baby is being shipped out to a specific part of the country and say, here, populate here, live here. This is where you can live. And they have no idea where the parent is, who the parent is, just as unknown. So this has been going on for, well over 100 years. Maybe 200, we don't know. Yes, I know about the past history. It happened in our family. Yeah. So I would say, like I said, I would say for you to do, Diane, to look at the word illegal and to see it's illegal to be homeless in the U.S. and Canada. But because they also said it's illegal to feed the people in Canada. It's not illegal to feed people. Like illegal to feed the homeless. It's not illegal to feed the homeless. You have to be. They said you have to be an established organization where you can feed the homeless. But there's people not homeless. There's people that just don't have enough food in their home, so they go and get it. And these are, food shelters or home shelters. And but not every place is available for a homeless person. We got the biggest thing here in Vancouver, downtown Vancouver. We have well over 3,000 people that are homeless, but a lot of them are actually taken away by the Vancouver City Police, not RCMP. They had a whole bunch of buses and load them all up, these homeless people in the buses, houseless people in the buses, hauled them all the way out to Chilliwack, way, way, way far north towards Chilliwack in the inner part of the city, and dropped them off there and told them not to come back. I'm not kidding you. That's what they did in Vancouver. The Vancouver City cops told them, don't come back or you go to jail. They didn't want homeless people. And yet those homeless people were not homeless 5 years ago. Those homeless people, no, say 5 years. I've been in 17, wait, hang on, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Sorry, take it back. No, it was 9 years ago. We'll say 9 years ago. 9 or 10 years ago, there were never any homeless people, that many homeless people, 3,000, like maybe the 250, something like that. All those people lost their homes, due to the China, the CCP bought the 3 hotels. They scooped the hotels out from the city. The city sold them to the mainland China, and they bought the hotels and then kicked everybody out. And that's why those people are houseless. But they wouldn't tell you why they did. They didn't tell you who kicked them out. But those 3 hotels that Premier Gordon Campbell promised and signed in BC, signed that there were going to be co-op housing available to all Indigenous people, non-Indigenous people to live in. And these hotels were available and they could get to move in, right, and live there. And sure, there's people online here know what I'm talking about. And they lived there, and they were there paying a low income rent and affordability, and they were doing fine. But when China bought the buildings, and would come to the time when they're saying, okay, now we're going to kick everybody out. Now, the only way they can do it is actually trying to either create a fire and blame it on somebody to knock the building down quicker, or they, not the public, the owners. And they've done it once before. They've done it many times before. Or they're trying to buy a location of a certain building, and sometimes these companies will refuse to sell. Next thing you know, the building's burnt down. It's arsonists. arsonists. And next thing you know, the building's gone. Well, then the guy's forced to sell the company or sell the land because the building's gone. And that's been happening too often on East Hastings. Too often. There's too many East Hastings fires. Too many East Hastings buildings folks being kicked out of their homes. I'm not kidding you guys. It's really bad down there. And yet, years and years and years ago, my wife used to tell me back in the 70s, East Hastings was one of the most active, happy city of Vancouver, one of the most respected community ever. A lot of people loved working out of there, being in there. They had a great time. And but for some reason, certain mayors came in many years later and corruptly downsized the value of its respect. And next thing you know, all these some so-called buildings or businesses were forced out of business, and there's closures and closures and closures to the point that there's all these businesses are barely even shut down, just locked up. They're not even in business. They're all locked up, and they've been locked up for years. Now, why are they all locked up and chained up now? Next thing you know, there's actually cages in front of these windows. And so I'm not sure who all these owners are that bought all these buildings, but they have them. But according, some people said to me, they said half of this belongs to Saudi Arabia and the other half belongs to China. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Most of these buildings that are shut down or locked up now were sold to either Saudi Arabia or the Chinese Communist Party. They own it. But they're not going to tell you the truth. We're going to find out sooner or later, folks. Because once we become announced as merged with the United States, then our commander-in-chief is going to find out what the heck's going on. Or he'll find out, tell you exactly what's going on. And then you're going to wish you didn't mess with us. Because they're going to fix it. People need to get their homes back. They don't deserve to be kicked out. Not that way. I mean, look at Pastor Artur Pawlowski. He's feeding the people in Calgary. He got 28 tickets for feeding the people on the street. 28 tickets, and then he never paid the tickets, but they arrested him again. He got 28 tickets, and then he got. Anyways, they decided to arrest him and put him in jail, and they put him in a maximum penitentiary prison in Edmonton. And they left him there for 57 days, naked in a cell. Naked in a cell. They wanted him dead because he was too powerful. He was too well loved. And this is when the Premier Jason Kenney was premier in Alberta at the time. He had a major hate for Pastor Artur Pawlowski. Major hate for a lot of people and that were standing up against him. Yeah. Oh yeah, but that Kenny's already gone. They got rid of him. He's like, anyways, okay, bonkers. Let's see. Then okay, let's see here. My brother. Okay, Sam, where we go here. So okay, homeless. Okay, they did that in 1996 to paddy wagons at night picked up. Yes, 1996 too in Toronto. Oh yes, yeah. My brother lived on Hastings in 1970s. Diane says, "Okay, cool." And then the Gastown. Gastown's lost all of its. The people are going to come to the point they're not going to be going there. Like there used to be some really nice restaurants there. It's getting down less to the point that hardly anybody wants to be in Vancouver. Period. So they're forcing people to go to another area. So I think what the city's working on is getting rid of all the people in that area of the original East Hastings, tearing down everything and start over again. That's probably what they're going to try and do. Just start tearing down everything and start all over again as if nothing ever existed, which I think is ridiculous. So those are very old antique buildings. They're old buildings. And I think they're trying to do is get rid of history, remove it so nobody will remember. The woodward window was great for decoration at Christmas. I know. I mean, we used to go Christmas time. I mean, you guys remember going? I remember the most fun as a kid. Any of your woodward stores, big, huge corporate centers, and myself as a kid, back in the 1950s and 60s, I used to go and see all these animated physical puppets, animated electronic animations of every window in the Woodward's windows. They would have the Christmas themes, and they were animatronic moving. We had a lot. I mean, I love those kids. I'm sure kids loved it. People just like watched it, looked, and thought it was great. You don't see that anymore, hardly. The Woodward window was great for decoration at Christmas. Yeah, Kenny ran the food bank in Toronto in 1990s. Jason Kenny ran it, or your brother ran it? Oh, your brother ran it. Okay. We need to bring back the stockades with lots of tomatoes. Okay. Fancy restraints. Yep. We moved to British property, BC, and offer got bad. And after it got bad. Oh, you moved to the British property in BC. Yeah, after it got bad. Eventually, it's going to get cleaned. I mean, the other things will start to work out. Just be patient and wait. We're not far off, guys. A lot of us will have an opportunity to live a lot longer as well. What's up with the beds? You're talking about the med beds. I do not know yet. All I know is we just have to wait patient. They're coming. We just have to be patient. I can't go any further with it. They won't let me say anything. I want to say something, but they said let it be for a bit. They're already out. The med beds are already out but it's on a military basis, but they'll be using healing centers. Once the hospitals are closed, once everything shifts over, they'll be putting the med beds either into the hospitals, because all the doctors and nurses have to be retrained and learn how to use the med beds. So people are going to be a lot healthier. Jason Kenny, ran the Daily Bank, Toronto. Yeah, he's a jerk. He thinks he's the only. He thinks he's the only nothing but like he's the best guy in the world. Like no one else, like he thinks is whatever doesn't stink. No, he actually is the stink. So okay, well, no calls and but got a lot of people actually asking questions. We're wonderful, guys. Thank you. Awesome. Many thanks, Tom. Yeah. Daily Bread Food Bank. Oh, he ran the Daily Food Bank, Toronto. Well, then why was he a jerk once he became a premier of Alberta? He became a jerk after. Area code 604. Can you turn off your area code 604 noise?
Good there. Hi, Derrick. It's Linda.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Okay, just one quick little question.
Yes, my dear.
Is tomorrow going to be great news?
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, are you talking about yourself? How's your health?
Going for the scan tomorrow.
Okay, how are you feeling right now?
Pretty good.
Okay. As long as you stay positive.
A lot better than January.
Okay. See, as long as you're feeling a lot better, that's how it works. Yeah. And I'm sure things are going to the things are going to change. You'll see the difference, a positive way.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terrific.
Yeah.
Okay. By any chance, can I ask you if there's a message from my mom and dad?
Okay, mom and dad. What do you want to say to your daughter? It's not as much. I'm not get your father's energy, get your mom's energy, but she's actually saying to me that she's always with you. It's like as if she's there holding your hand while you're being examined by the doctor. This is tomorrow, but she's telling you not to worry. Things will be all taken care of. She said. She says everything will be all right.
Okay.
I can hear the song. Everything will be all right. That's funny. I can hear the song, "Everything Will Be
Yeah.
All Right." So she's using that song to basically to confirm that.
Yeah. Oh, terrific.
Yeah.
She still is a lovely, caring, compassionate woman.
Well, let me know how it all turns out after. See what happens.
Yeah, I
Send me
will.
results.
I'll drop you a line.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, thanks. And this was a fabulous show. I had a lot of fun on the chat tonight.
Oh, good. Yeah, lots of people here tonight. Wow, it's a good thing. I love it. Some people come in, some people go out, but that's great. Wonderful to see. And you know, I wanted to share about, you know, spirituality, mediumship, and that sort of thing, and different things that are happening across this world, and let people know not to worry. Even, you know, whatever happened in the past, now start living for today. You know, and don't worry about tomorrow. Just, you know, but be aware of what's going on in your communities and what the governments are trying to do. Just, you know, don't worry about the scary tactics. It's just a game. They're so desperate right now. They're trying to see what they can hang on, what's left to use and utilize up. And we just have to be patient. So
yeah. But what's interesting in the beginning too, when you're talking about ghosts and that.
Yeah.
Back before I retired, when I was in real estate, I ran into a few of them, and they're not scary. And you know what you were saying too, that when spirit comes to kids, because they, you know, I had that spirit coming to me, that it shouldn't be scary. The only thing I can say to that is, a few years ago, I had my guardian guide come to me, and he came to me with one of those. He was wearing a hooded cloak, and I couldn't see his face. All I saw was this dark hooded cloak. And I took it, and it brought back, you know, that's what I used to see as a kid. And it was the cloak that scared you. And so I just said to him, I said, "Who's there?" And he turned around and looked at me. Now, when you see the face and the eyes, there was nothing scary about it. Tell him to take the cloaks off.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is, because it's like, if you look at the old comic book or movie, when they say only the shadow knows, and so this person, how he presents himself to you is how you would relate to him. So, you know, and if you say the word cloak, well, what's cloaking? If you break that down, if you write that word down, cloak, what does it mean to you? Okay, so if we use the word cloak, okay, just for example, and its meaning, well, number one, cloaking, the meaning means a loose or outer garment, as a cape or coat, something that covers or conceals, okay, or disguise or pretense. It means he conducts his own affairs under a cloak of secrecy. So he's showing you something. Anytime anybody is showing themselves to you, how they wear their clothing or how they appear to you, it's not about them trying to scare you. They're showing you something as a symbolism. So it means that he's showing you the something that you'll actually will meet up with someone that relates to a cloaking of a secrecy, and so you're learning to unveil the cloak. Okay, so to be aware of the cloaking, because there's going to be some things out there. Cloaking is a slang, so that means something that hides, covers, or keeps something else secret. Now, cloak for example, let's see here. Does a cloaking mean hide, to cover, or hide with, or as if it was with a cloak? Depends. And let's see here. Here's one for you. In the Old Testament, a cloak, a long, heavy robe that, like a coat, was an Old Testament symbol of authority. Okay, there it goes. It was an Old Testament symbol of authority. For a prophet in Israel, it was a symbol of the power of God resting on him. And when Elijah first met Elijah in the 1 Kings 19:19, he threw his cloak around him. So you met Elijah. Yeah, a prophet from Israel. That's who you met. Of the Old Testament symbol of authority. Yeah.
You just never know, eh? It's
So your guide is Elijah. There you go.
Oh.
Just like that.
Yeah. I understand too. They have a bit of a sense of humor. They have to with me.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, my friend.
You're welcome.
And you take care, and we'll chat at you soon.
Okay. Take good care. We'll talk to you then.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. That was good. First caller. Oh my God. First and last caller of the night. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for coming on the program and listening and watching this evening. Please like and share this program as much as you can, especially on YouTube. Like and share. Click on that button down below. Boom. Get as many friends to follow me as you can, because anybody just say, hey, Derrick, or you should see Derrick and find him and get people to follow him and watch the show. There's lots to learn about this. Also, I'm also on Facebook. Well, you'll see mine on Facebook, but also on YouTube. You'll see a lot of my stuff. Follow up on it. You can also go into my Rumble page. Just after this whole show's over, it'll be recorded, placed on Rumble. And again, as usual, actually, I'm on also my Telegram page. It's called the True North, Strong and Free. And a lot of times we actually have other pages that I actually will try to promote as possible. And it's called the Q Garage, and which it's actually a place. It's really great place to go to. By the way, you can learn all kinds of stuff. Join the chat room and have a chat and listen to people, and people participate through the night and through the day, whatever they talk about, and you'd be surprised what you can learn from that. It's called a Q School Garage, spelled SCHQQL. The Q School Garage. Okay, that's on up on the Telegram page. But anyways, on my page, it's called the True North, Strong and Free. Join us, guys. Thank you, guys. And thank you, guys, all from the chat rooms. Those are in the Facebook chat room and YouTube chat room. Thank you for been watching the program. We'll talk to you guys next week. In the meantime, and in between time, we're done. May God be with you guys. Take care.
Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace, all around. Isn't it time, brother, stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. All right, make peace, peace together.